Hello and welcome everyone to a special episode of Spreading the Nerd. I'm your host Clint Coombs, joined by my co-host Rick Davis, and our very special guest today is M, the co-writer and voice actor for the upcoming horror game Heartworm. So before we start anything, M, thank you so much for joining us. It is super cool. I'm incredibly excited for this. So thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, both of you. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. And how was your day? We'll start off with that. Something simple. How you been? Everything going okay for you?
My day has been really good. It's
awesome.
Super warm out. It went from like moderate spring to middle of summer here. So
real fast.
I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it was. I was thinking of that this morning because it was like 49 when I woke up the other day. And then today it was all of a sudden 84. And I was like, well,
yeah, it was about 85 here, so yeah. Same deal.
At least it wasn't raining. I'll say that.
Yes, that's true.
God. So once again, M, you are the co-writer and voice actor for Heartworm coming up, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, awesome. I've got like a couple other like little roles, but cool. Like mostly co-writing and voice acting.
Awesome. So tell us a little about yourself. It doesn't have to necessarily be about the game. Of course, your involvement in the game, sure, but just the day in the life of M.
Yeah, sure. So Vincent, the creator and lead developer on Heartworm, is my fiance. So we live together, we work together. I have a full-time job in healthcare, but do the game stuff on the side. We have 4 cats together. We co-parent 4 cats. And I like to play a lot of video games. And I'm a huge horror fan. So it was really cool getting to work on like a horror specific, like a psychological horror game.
So if I can jump in very quick, you saying that you're a horror fan, did you happen to just watch the PlayStation State of Play that was an hour ago?
And no, I haven't seen it yet.
Because they showed gameplay of Silent Hill F. I was wondering what you thought of that.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
I can't play those games. No, don't worry about it. But that's what Vincent is for. He is like, he's been playing them since before his parents knew he was. He was like playing them on his uncle's PlayStation when he was way too young to be playing them. But so he's like desensitized and he can play all of that stuff. But but I'm really excited for that one to come out. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I've got my fingers crossed. I love playing the Silent Hills, but like Silent Hill 2 Remake came out and I could only play that in like pieces because it was just too much psychological, and I love horror games, and that was just a little bit too much at times.
I still haven't finished the remake. I was just thinking about that the other day. Now, I did finish the original game back in the day, so I do know the story. But I was like, man, I never actually finished that. I probably need to go back and do that.
I have seen him play the original, but we haven't had time to play the remake.
Yeah, I'm sure you've been busy with the game and everything. So you kind of answered my second question of how you got into the industry with, and it was because of Vincent, your husband, correct?
Yeah, my fiance. We're
fiance.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it was like back when we first started dating. He told me he was working on a game, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And then I realized, like what kind of game it was, and I was like, "Oh, I would totally voice act it if you wanted me to." And it was like back before the current iteration of like the demo, and like it kind of blew up, and so like I definitely have like imposter syndrome a little bit. I'm like, oh, should he have chosen someone else to do that? Like, but he thinks it's fine, so that's all that matters.
Is this his first game, or has he made something in the past?
It's his first like published game. He's like messed around with stuff before, but nothing like he hasn't put anything out before. So yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Like I said, I played the demo, and for first game to publish, it plays great and gave me some incredibly nostalgic feelings. So it was awesome.
Yeah, I watched the trailer, but for anybody that knows me knows I had a fairly busy weekend. Let's put it that way. I was in a car accident, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to really do much.
Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I'm okay. My car is not. My car is absolutely total, unfortunately. But yeah, so I was pretty occupied much of the weekend. So I did not get a chance to try it out, unfortunately.
Oh, don't worry. Car stuff is awful. I was looking at car prices the other day, and I was like, "How are they so expensive?"
Oh, they're
awful.
insane. Yeah, they're
it's
insane
awful.
right now.
Yeah, that's all me and Rick have been talking about this week is because I totaled my car last year and like the car prices just shot up, skyrocketed, and I was like, oh, I can't. This is
APR
awful.
is crazy too. Like if you can't afford like a $20,000 for a car, because that's like about as expensive as they are when like if you want them to last.
Right.
Like if you don't want to buy like a piece of shit that's gonna last you like another year. But yeah, APR is crazy too. It's all just like, oh man. I hope the game goes well.
Yes. I'm sure it will, because it was shown at IGN Fan Fest, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's when we did the release launch window. We've had to push the release date since then, but we should be making an announcement soon with like the concrete date. So
awesome. Yeah, because I watched Fan Fest and I think I briefly remember it, but I was just doom scrolling through TikTok and like BlueSky, and it came up and I was like, oh, this looks really cool, and I got really interested in it, and that's when I reached out to you and I was like, man, this would be really awesome to interview somebody from this. So once again, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And like we're still trying to like get out there and like reach people now that we have this this time. I was like, well, like I finished writing, I finished voice acting, like everything I can do besides like playtest is done. So I've just been trying to like post stuff and so I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it and to reach people.
Fantastic. Yeah, awesome. And then the question that gets, and this was like some of your homework apparently, the whole Fred Durst Limp Bizkit thing. So to give some context to this very quickly, Spreading the Nerd, for the listeners, we are very off the cuff. We don't create documents. It's just, let's start the show and whatever sticks to the wall, that's what we go with. So this is the very first document that we have created for this show in over a year. And it started with, Rick putting in a Limp Bizkit thing. And I thought that, it was gone. It was not, and there's a war between me and him about Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, as soon as you deleted it and left this thing, I went back in and added a different one.
And added the actual
but I hit it further down.
When you messaged me earlier this afternoon, I was in my work truck and I was just like looking. You were like, the Limp Bizkit question, and my heart and stomach just sank, and I was like, our first like proper interview with real developers and stuff, and this is what happens. And you were totally awesome with it and you ran with it, and so that was so cool. But since you are
we do have to know where you are
dragged into this, and there is no wrong answer.
No, there is a wrong answer. Don't let it fool you.
But do you like Limp Bizkit?
So I will say that I only got halfway through my homework. I was like, I'll listen to the first album because that is like the game takes place in like 1998, 1999.
Yep.
So it's like that's what the character would have been listening to. And I did. I asked Vincent, I was like, would Sam have like, she like seems like the kind of person who'd like only be going to like local shows and like not really into like mainstream stuff. But I'm like, maybe she would have a guilty pleasure like album, and I could see it being that because it's got like a lot of that like anger and resentment, and like I feel like she would really feel that. So I think my answer
that's
is
what
that,
Linkin Park was for.
Yeah, I'm a Tool person myself, and that's
awesome.
So yeah, I could see it. I would say that the Limp Bizkit that I listened to, and I cannot speak for anything that's come out recently, but I liked it. It was good to work to.
Awesome.
I'm sorry,
I think
Rick.
we can.
I'm sorry.
Maybe we can have it, canon
This
further
friendship
down.
is over before it began. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I said it like sneaking in a. So I am the fan of Limp Bizkit.
Mhm.
So maybe later down the line, if there's ever a documentary on Sam, we can somehow sneak in that she likes Limp Bizkit for our Easter egg that we had talked.
Yeah, someone who playtested was like, "Oh, like I would love a sequel with like the same characters," and we had never thought about that. We were just like a one-off kind of thing.
Yep.
So there is opportunity potentially. We
Awesome.
never know.
The official Heartworm lore has
It has begun.
has Sam's music tastes.
It's fantastic. I love it.
Well, hey, if she does like Limp Bizkit, I can understand the horror aspect of this for sure.
Yeah.
So
she's got like a lot going on.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes.
So before we get into the more talk about the game and stuff, I'll just read a quick synopsis of the game, and feel free to correct me or if you've added stuff to this, but this is just what I grabbed off. But Sam, who's the main character, and that's the character you voice, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yes.
Sam, fueled by her obsession with the deaths of those close to her, researches ways to contact the dead. She stumbles down a dark internet path, finding a message board with users discussing a house in the mountains that supposedly has some connection to the afterlife. However, no one who has visited the house has ever returned. Left with seemingly no other option as her obsession consumes her, Sam seeks out the house to find out for herself, no matter the consequences. So,
Yeah,
I love the synopsis.
Thank you. That's pretty much the introduction to the game that will get you to where Sam is at.
Gotcha.
And then from there, I feel like it's such a good experience to like kind of find out as she's finding out like what's going on. So.
Perfect. Yeah. I did play, like I said, I did play the demo, and the inspirations for the game, my next question, for me, when I first started it up, it was, as I loved horror back then, I still do, but the nostalgia waves were just constant of like my favorite series, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, and then just like a splash of Fatal Frame in there. And so I'm guessing those are the inspirations. Is there any other, or are those the main inspirations, or?
So like the Resident Evil 1, the PlayStation version, that like shaped Vincent's entire life, basically. Like,
yep.
That's like his comfort game, and he's always wanted to do survival horror like that game.
Nice.
Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, and 4, like the first 4 Silent Hills. He also really likes. We have like some direct like Silent Hill 2 like inspiration like visually that people will notice probably. And funnily enough, like neither of us have ever played Fatal Frame. I've watched videos about Fatal Frame, but just like the camera aspect, I guess, is like, like using the camera as a combat mechanism. And Fatal Frame, it's ghosts. In Heartworm, it's you'll kind of find out. But
awesome.
So yeah, along with that, like Eternal Darkness, and Martian Gothic, which is like a really super, like not super well-known PlayStation game, but we were also really inspired by like movies and television, like Donnie Darko and It Follows and Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Awesome.
And then Vincent's a photographer too, so Gregory Crewdson is like his main inspiration for like the visual aesthetic. Yeah.
Very cool. That's I love that a camera was chosen, because I've only that I've played anyways is Fatal Frame, and it's been a while since I've played those, but I just remember being more drawn into the world and scared because of the camera, because everything is so close to you and you have to like, pinpoint it exactly. And so I was very excited that the camera was the main weapon for sure.
Yeah, a gun can make you feel safe, right?
Right.
But honestly, in like Silent Hill 2, like you're shooting these like manifestations of his psychological trauma. Like it could have been anything. It could have been like a harpoon, you know, like it's really
Right.
like in his head. So yeah, we wanted to like play with that idea and concept.
That's awesome. I think it comes out really well. So, and how long has the game been in development for?
So Vincent started conceptualizing and the first demo, which was on the Haunted PS1 demo disc in 2020. So he started that iteration in 2019.
Wow.
So a little bit of the framework is still there, but like most of that was scrapped for a new demo that was started in the winter of 2022, which we got people to play at a local con. And then now it's like a new demo that you've played that's got like parts of that old one in it. So it still exists. So I would say like since 2022 for the current iteration of the game.
Oh, okay. Cool. Awesome. And you said, yeah, hopefully an announcement sometime soon with a release date. Awesome.
Yes. Yeah. There's
You guys
just
must be
like,
excited.
we're like, we just need it to be over. Like,
Right.
Well, it sounds like there is a light at the end of the tunnel, though, which is good.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. And like we can see it completed. Definitely like over the winter in December. Like we were just in the weeds. Like it felt never ending. So we're definitely feeling a lot better now.
Good. And is it just Vincent, or is he having any help at all? Or
so yeah, we're published by Dread XP. I don't know if you guys have played like Mortuary Assistant. It's like one of the big ones. So he got funding from, well, we had a different publisher originally. They dropped us in 2023. And we had already hired people on and started like doing stuff. But Vincent was able to just like power through, get the contract with Dread XP all figured out. And then like we just right back on track. Like I don't really know if anyone actually stopped working, but so yeah, we have Michael. He does visual stuff like our 3D assets and environment, and he's been helping with a little bit with the music. Carlos has done a little bit of animation, a little bit of like character design development for enemies, some 3D stuff, and shoot. I think he did something else too, but I can't remember right now. He stopped working on the game like 6 months ago. Well, he came back on for a little bit, but then we had Leo doing code and bug stuff, Goba doing code and bug stuff. They like switched off, so they weren't working concurrently. And then we have Eve, he's also like an animator, and he was our cinematic director. So like the intro cutscene that you see like when the game is on idle, that he did that. He did our ending cutscenes and like cutscenes throughout the game. So, and Jacob has done concept art and helped with like Unity stuff. So yeah, like we're like a good sized team for an indie game.
Right.
Unfortunately, all of us had to work part-time on the game except for Vincent. So the amount of time that everyone could put in was limited, but
right.
I think we still, thankfully we're able to all work on it together.
That's awesome. Awesome. So you had mentioned previously that, film and TV and stuff had inspired you. Did you yourself draw any inspiration from any classic horror performances from games or films for the role that you played, or?
I think, Heather from Silent Hill 3 definitely was an inspiration for the character.
Good choice.
Of
Good
Sam.
choice.
Yeah, I mean, she's
Perfect.
like, yeah, she's
awesome.
one of the best ones.
Definitely.
Like we wanted to capture that, like, I don't know what's going on, but like I'm kind of over it anyways, like
Yep.
vibe. But I think Sam has got like a lot more internally going on than like like, not to say that Heather's not a complicated character, but like Sam is like more like focused on like internal, you know. But yeah, so that's like the big inspiration.
Perfect. I love it. That's one of my favorite characters. So that's awesome.
So Silent Hill 3 is probably my single favorite survival horror game of all time, actually. So that's that's good
awesome.
to hear. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good one for sure.
Were there any parts like Rick probably has to step out real quick. Were there any moments like in the script where you were performing that like creeped you out a little bit while you were recording at all, or?
Sorry, I bumped the button.
No worries. Yeah, so not necessarily creepy, because there's not a lot that's creepy about like sitting in front of a microphone and like trying to sound scared. That's like the only thing scary about it is how unassumingly difficult that is. But I definitely did have to like dig pretty deep for some sad stuff. Like there's a lot of like Sam reminiscing about like horrible things that have happened and having to like be like face to face with them when like all she wanted was like resolution and answers, and she's faced with like, you know, everything she doesn't want instead. So
No, I apologize. I don't remember if this was addressed. Is this your first voice acting role, or have you done that in the past?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did like in high school with my friends. I made like silly YouTube videos, like the like cosplay skits and stuff. Which like, yeah, I don't know. I can't be embarrassed because it was like my practice run, right?
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Sorry about
There
that.
it is.
I thought I
No, that's
fixed that.
quite all right. That's fine.
Yeah, it was more difficult than I expected. It to be not just like the voice stuff was fine, but like the other stuff, like the grunts and the groans, and because there's a way it can go when you make those noises that you don't want it to sound. It's not that kind of game. So
understandable for sure. When you were doing the voice acting, was it all just like where you are like right now, or did you go somewhere to record that, or?
So we have like a professional level mic in the room where Vincent's setup is. So we did all of that from there.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I can't imagine how hard that would be to just, like you said, sit there and, you know, conjure up those feelings when you can't, you know, put a real, you know, face or a place to it. And then also like grunts and stuff. I feel like I would just be really weird.
I think for the next game, we just need to get a really good like portable mic and throw me in a haunted house and just like just get it like straight from the source. That would be
perfect.
Or like
Now,
perfect.
when you were recording these various lines and not necessarily grunts and stuff like that, but the actual script, that's the way you phrase this. Did you know the scene in particular that you were recording for, or did you more just have it written out as a script, like just plain words, you know?
So everything that was recorded, I had a hand in writing, and was written after everything was made. It was a very unconventional game development process, because the original idea was Vincent wanted it to be like more of like a surreal experience where you don't necessarily know what's going on, like the original like Silent Hill 2, where it's like you really have to infer to figure out like what everything means. But we ended up feeling like it just felt kind of empty. It felt confusing and like not really good for play testers. Like they didn't feel good about what was happening, and we wanted to make sure that players felt good, which is why I came in to do writing. So every scene that I recorded, I had a hand in writing if I didn't write it myself. So, but that's nice, because if I said a line and I was like, I don't like how that sounds, I'm going to rewrite it. Just like, it's fine. So.
That kind of goes right into my next question here, and you kind of answered it. But was there anything more specific of not just Sam, but was there other like co-writing process in the story, or was it just on Sam? Or
Yeah, so I did it is like a character driven game. Like
Mhm.
I did the writing for not all, but like a good chunk of the environmental stuff, like the interacts, as well as all of Sam's voice lines, and co-wrote the script. And we also had I forgot to mention Hunter, who's the director of Dread XP. He came on as like a narrative consultant, like back in the winter when we really needed to just get everything done. So he was a huge help with like editing and like giving direction and all of that stuff. So yeah, I think. Oh, and other like pieces of narrative, but any poems in the game that were written by Vincent. I did not write them. I'm not a poetry person yet, I guess.
Yeah, that kind of goes in my next question too. You're lining them right up for me. I like it. So Vincent is the writer as well. Did you have any like special processes for like brainstorming or creating the script? Like, did you, like you said earlier, going into a haunted house for creating your voice for next time? But was there any special way that you did any writing or anything like that? Or
We definitely did a lot of our best brainstorming in the car. I don't know why. Like when you're driving around, you just like
Yep.
your mind kind of gets there,
Yep. Very true.
You said your work is in a truck?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking a lot, and that's definitely where I brainstorm for ideas or whatever for the show and stuff. So yeah, I totally get you. Yep, for sure.
Don't mean to rub it in, Rick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not driving at all. That's not true. Actually, I am driving to work, but
you'll be driving a better car now.
Maybe. Well, once we get to pay, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. A better car with a very nice payment, I'm sure.
Not nice for me, but sure.
And were there any like real world inspiration locations or anything that influenced the setting or the story at all?
Oh yeah, the abandoned house that is in the beginning of the story. It's not in the demo. It was in like that first version of the demo in 2022, but we cut it because we didn't want the demo to be too long. But like the game begins at an abandoned house that exists in real life.
Awesome.
Like I think in like Hamden or Bethany, Connecticut. It's like it's out there in the woods, and Vincent used to go there as a teenager to like take photos. He's got some like artsy photos of his friends like through so cool. Like the broken glass and all that stuff. So that's a real place. I think one of the like the streets are based on real places around like Orange and Milford, Connecticut. So yeah, the only place is like the final area that's like super surrealist and just kind of comes out of nowhere.
That's awesome.
Is there any plans to do any kind of, I don't know, documentary or whatever to just show where the like a comparison of what you guys have in the game versus what the research photos look like and stuff like that?
That would be really cool. I was thinking like as we're wrapping up and like the final touches are put in, Vincent's been working on like an end credits song, and I'm like, oh, if people really like this song, we should totally do a music video and like do the music video at the abandoned house.
That would be awesome. Yeah,
that would be perfect. Yeah. That's super cool. And now that you mentioned the abandoned house and stuff, I can't wait when it comes out to play it, and then I can kind of visualize Vincent's old stomping grounds.
I mean, it is like interior, like the interior goes places that a normal house wouldn't go, just nice. To like put it like that. But so it's not exactly the same, but yeah, like there are areas that are completely the same and the exterior is pretty similar.
Awesome. Let's see, what else do I have written down here? Are there now? I know you've said that Sam is struggling with contact with the dead and stuff like that. But are there any like other specific themes that you're attempting to hit with the story?
Yeah. So there's like the feelings of unreality and surrealism, um, existentialism for sure, and like the fear of death and the anxiety around dying, as well as like nostalgia and regret and fighting the inevitable. Like it's really just it's about someone trying to have something that none of us can really have, and just like the drive to get more, and the like journey of like coming to peace with it or not being able to move on. It depends. The game has multiple endings, so
Awesome.
yeah, you can kind of like the way that you play will influence how things turn out for Sam.
Awesome. Cool. Good to know. Good to know in my first playthrough then.
Yeah, and well, so we have I don't know if you saw this TikTok, but we have skins in the game. So like I don't know, like Haunting Ground, the skins in Haunting Ground were awesome. I don't know if you guys played that. Or like the skins in Resident Evil.
Yep.
So like at least when you're playing through, if there's like that little bit of monotony, you're like, oh, at least she looks different,
Yeah, that's awesome. Speaking of that, do you plan on any other unlocks other than just, if you can talk about it, of course, besides like costumes? Is there like a special like camera or something like that or anything?
Nothing on like replaying the game right now. We are thinking about in the future adding like difficulty modes, adding like a different style of camera, because right now it's fixed camera. We'd love to do something over the shoulder, because I think a lot of people, like modern players, are just so used to having like third person over the shoulder. We would really love to do that. But in terms of unlockables, besides the achievements, I think like skins are where we're at right now. I mean, Michael, one of our he does like the 3D assets and art for us. He's like, he goes off the walls with stuff. So if we wanted to add unlockables, I'm sure he could think of like a bajillion different things.
Awesome. And now you had mentioned that you would like to add like a over the shoulder and stuff. Is that like something you really would like to plan once the game comes out and you guys can like take a break for a little while to kind of return to it and then start to add some extra features as as patches or extra stuff along the way?
Yeah, probably not gonna happen for release, unless like we really just lock in again. But yeah, it would probably be in like a patch or like an update for people to experience it, because when you do aim with the camera, it goes over the shoulder. You could have it either way. You could have it tank like classic, or you could have it go over the shoulder, so you can kind of experience the environments that way if you're using the camera. But I think not having it and having it just be like a default would be nice for some people, because I really do think our strong suit is in to put it like simply, it's the vibes, like the nostalgia that you were feeling when you were playing. Like just like the visual interest and detail in the areas. I think people will really, really like. So
yeah, for sure.
So do you have a rough estimate of, I don't know how to even really calculate this, but is there a lot of combat in the game or not too much? Like you mentioned Fatal Frame, and it seems to be that's where the combat is most derived from, right? Fatal Frame does not have a lot of it. Obviously, it's not the main focus there. Is that kind of how you went with here, or?
Well, definitely like the classic survival horror games, it is in the player's best interest to conserve when possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I ran into that.
Yeah.
Is it like film? Is that what your resource is, or okay?
Yeah, and there are like modifications to the camera too as the game goes along, so you can use it different ways. But there are boss fights, so you do have to do combat in those areas. But generally, there's a good amount of enemies.
Okay.
I told Vincent that we should have one of our achievements be that you defeat every enemy, and he was like, there's no way, like no one would want to do that, like I don't even know if it's possible. But I don't know, the thing that I found with like gamers like having people play test, if you say it's not possible for a player to do it, it's definitely possible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
someone's gonna do it. It's a challenge and they will find a way to do it.
Yeah.
Actually, something about this, I don't know if this was mentioned. Have you announced what platforms it's coming to?
So it's just coming to on Steam for now.
Okay.
We do have plans for future console releases, but those are up in the air depending on how things go with the game and like in the world. It's really hard to figure out when to release a game because like the AAA titles and like everything. Yeah, we didn't even like. I wasn't even thinking like, oh, the Switch 2 is coming out, so we're gonna have to think about that. And they were like, yeah,
this
Switch
year
2 is
has
coming
been absolutely brutal for not just indies, but even AAA games. There's just game announcements every day, and it's like it's getting too much. It's too saturated almost. So I can only imagine the stress and nerves of trying to look and try to lock down a date and hope that it catches just right or something. I can only imagine.
Yeah, it's really important for indie games, and thankfully we have like a PR company or Dread has a PR company that like they consult with for that kind of stuff, and they they're like in on the industry, so they know more about it. They're not going to be like me and be like, yeah, let's release the beginning of June because it's summer. Like, no, that wasn't a good idea. We're not doing that. So it wasn't even in question. Like they weren't even thinking about it. It was just in my head.
Right. So yeah, I'm just like random question time now. So I'm sorry for like the RNG effect or whatever. But can you tell us about like how long the game's length is, or?
Yeah. So most likely for most people, it will take about 6 hours to play through the first playthrough. Quicker if you are like you're familiar with that kind of gameplay and you kind of know like what to like I said with kind of avoiding the combat. Like I think you can get it down to 4. And then speedrunners, they'll do it in an hour and
right.
a half. But yeah, like about 6 hours of gameplay first time around, and there's going to be multiple save files, so I don't think it will be too hard for people to get the multiple endings.
Awesome.
Is there like collectibles and other stuff like that in the game?
So the main collectible is like unlocking the skins that you can change throughout the game. There's like a few different ways you can get them. So yeah, that's like the main one.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Yeah, going back to the mindset of the old survival games, I definitely went into it, like I said, the nostalgic feels and everything. And in my head, I told myself, I said, I probably should conserve this film. And no, I was fighting every enemy. And then I got to a point where I was able to upgrade the camera with like, I think it's the shutter speed or multi-shot. And I was running through film then too. And then I got stuck in a corridor because I love exploring every nook and cranny. And I got in this corner and then like 3 of the enemies came at me and I was like, I'm out of film. I need to remember to like just run past enemies and go. And now that I'm saying that, I just have to say that I super enjoy the way you guys did the backgrounds. Like I was just telling a friend the other day, I really miss the old days of like the old Final Fantasy RPGs and stuff where everything was kind of like looked like hand drawn in the background. And you've done that in a couple scenes, it looks like, and it was just like, it was super awesome. I loved it. So cool.
Yeah, I mean, like not all of the textures are have been made from scratch, because we definitely did like rip textures from like photos or
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
Cool.
But there is definitely a lot of handiwork and a lot of artistry went into creating the environments in the game.
Awesome. Yeah, all the TVs and stuff. So I'm already like, I'm ready to get into the world. I need to know now. So I'm definitely looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I can probably get you a key when we're doing the releases if you want to play it. Like, you just, wouldn't be able to say anything about it until release. If you're dying to play it.
I would love that. And maybe that can be our first review or something too. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
And if you wanted Vincent back on, like after, like now that he's winding down with stuff, he should be available for stuff too.
Yeah, we'll definitely give you guys a little break for a little break so you can relax.
Catch your breath a little bit, yeah.
Are there any big plans once it's done that you can, sit and relax? So you're just going to kind of just like chill and catch up on horror movies and such? Or
there are definitely a bunch of games that he wants to play, but my thing is I want to go on vacation so bad. I don't even want to go. I don't want to fly anywhere. I just want to drive up north. I want to go to like a lake in New Hampshire or Maine, and just get like a cabin for a weekend and like not look at a computer. Yeah.
Go completely off the grid.
Yeah, I can completely understand that. I'm sure, especially after working since 2022. I'm sure you guys have been hitting it hard. So I can, as an indie developer, I can only imagine.
Yeah, I mean, he started the game working full time and making the game, so that was pretty rough.
Is he just making the game now, or is he still working full time also?
Yeah, it was really weird timing because he got the deal with the first publisher and got laid off in like the same 2-week span. But they offered him a severance package with getting laid off, and he was starting the publisher deal. So it worked out really well that he was able to transition into doing game dev full time.
That's good. Awesome. That's really good to hear because I know indie devs, I've heard nightmares. So that's awesome to hear. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been super easy, but thankfully I have a full-time job right now. So having dual income makes it like a little less hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus taking care of 4 cats at the same time too.
We've had 5. Like, we have this terrible habit of finding the oldest, sickest cat and being like, they need love and adopting them. And so like we did that 3 times and we've been together for like 4 years now. So we're taking a break from that too. We got a kitten. That was the last cat. But
it's for a good cause at least though.
Yeah, they really do. Like that's like the dream would be like keep making games for sure, but it would be nice to have like a cat shelter, like be able to have more time to devote to animals because we both really like them.
Yeah. And you said that Vincent, is there any games or anything that you want to catch up on at all? Because I know you said that you played games too. So
yeah, well, I'm lucky in that since April or so, my role hasn't been very involved. The only thing I have left to do is like try to struggle through my allergies to sing the ending song, but it's are you guys
so you're gonna be singing the ending song. That's cool. Awesome.
No, it's like
that's great.
If it doesn't turn out good enough, then I'll just say let's do it instrumental.
I'm sure it'll be great. You heard it here first. We need to hear the voice. Gotta hear that emotion.
So are you actively playing anything right now or no?
I'm trying to think of anything like new that came out that I've been playing. I just play a lot of older stuff. And like the kind of games that Pokemon. I'm like a big Pokemon fan, so nice. I'm playing Black on my Nintendo 3DS.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I want an authentic copy of Soul Silver, but they're so expensive.
Yeah.
Like, I understand now, like, I'm like, wow, I really am old because like the games I want are like a copy of like Resident Evil or Silent Hill for the PlayStation. Like a good copy is going for like over $200 easy. And the same thing for DS games now. And I'm like, what? Those came out like 10 years ago, didn't they? Like,
yeah.
Well, the thing with those, I used to work at GameStop, so I would see nobody kept the cases for anything, so it just skyrocketed the value of all of that stuff.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. I recently went to PAX East, and there was a couple of vendors there selling, and they had like a mint copy of like 9.8 copy of Silent Hill original, and it was something like $600 astronomical. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I owned this, and I treated it like,
So did
I mean, I treated it well, but it has scratches and everything, and then I probably just threw it away. And now I'm like, why did I throw any of my games away or turn them into GameStop? I'm like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure I turned in like a lot of games to GameStop that.
Yep. Now that I think about it, I'm like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've told this to Clint numerous times. My unicorn, if you will, is I very much do want to get a complete unboxed copy of the original Valkyrie profile, and it haunts me to this day. When I worked at EB, it was when they still kept the name separate. We had a copy on the shelf that was like $40, and I was like, "What is this? Like, this actually was kind of cool." And I didn't buy it, and I'm like, that game's like $300 now. Like, why did I not buy that? And it's like one of my favorite games. I played the PSP version when they released Lenneth, and I'm just like I want to go back in time and just slap myself for not buying that.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. At least we have, like emulators and stuff and like digital copies of games, but yeah, something about like the physical version. Like that's something we would love to do for Heartworm, is like have a physical release.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, maybe when it comes out to console, but like the big box PC games, like we have like
those.
Yeah, we have like one of those for Myst, which is like another one of Vincent's favorite games, and he wanted to make it like a more puzzle forward game, but they ended up taking like a bit of like they're not as quite in the front as much as Vincent wanted them to be, but there are still puzzles in the game, and I think for the next one he would want to up the ante and up the difficulty in those puzzles, because like
that's cool.
Yeah, playing those old games, there's like a Shakespeare puzzle, and I forget which, maybe it was a Resident Evil game where you had to like know Shakespeare works to like figure out the puzzle, and there was no like key in the library like this is what each title is and this is the plot of the game. It was just like you gotta know, like
you had to know. Those are back in the days where internet wasn't exactly open, and you weren't, it was hard to find anything. So yeah, like you said,
and you had to buy like the physical like game guides. I love those. Those are such good memorabilia.
Got a bunch of them right there.
Both Rick and I are very heavy, like keep physical, we need physical. So yeah, we're right there with you. Yep. I still have strategy guides for like Final Fantasy 10, 7 over in the bookcase somewhere over yonder. And yep. And then just when I stopped putting games to GameStop for 5 cents, I did manage to keep like, now I have like, I have actually a storage area filled with just bins of games now.
Nice. Yeah. It just, I don't know, something about it hits different. It's like a library, like having everything on ebook versus like being in a library. The feeling is just different. Like I'm not going to knock the ebook because I read on my iPad all the time. Like it's accessible and it's easy and, if you're, it's like inexpensive too, but a library is just its own thing.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. Yeah, I definitely miss the days of buying a video game, and the first thing I would do is I would rip it open and I would just shove the booklet to my face and just smell it. Like that's every game. So I miss that so much.
Yeah, I think we do have in our like marketing stuff, we've got like a booklet, like
nice.
I don't know if we're going to get it physically printed to send to people, but for a physical release, we definitely would want to do that. And like, we've talked about doing like an art book too. I really like that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely,
Yeah,
especially for horror games. Our books are great because you see
Mhm.
almost like another side and deeper into like character and the
Mhm.
designs and stuff. Awesome.
Yeah, there is like I've done like some really basic concept art just to like get like the idea across for Vincent. Like I'm not like I wouldn't say I'm a particularly talented artist, but I can put a pen on paper and it would just be really funny to have like everyone's like intricate artwork and then just like my doodle of an enemy like and then I wrote like underneath it, it's like it goes on the wall. Like, I don't know. I want to see that in an art book.
Definitely, yeah.
Something
Those are things that are great.
It's
Those little, just
it's
it
part
builds
of the design.
character.
It's
Yeah,
part of the design of this stuff. So yeah,
yep,
absolutely.
that's awesome. Fantastic. Yeah, hopefully, it'd be great if, if you guys are able to go to console, that maybe like a limited run or something could do some type of physical copy, because that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
Yeah.
if you put it in a big PC box, that would be fantastic.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
Well, I
miss
mean,
those.
we'll probably just end up making them in our home ourselves. Like, we'll do like a limited run and like just like put them together ourselves. Like,
Awesome.
yeah. I don't know if you can do that with Steam games or not. Like,
I'm sure
put a physical
have, like,
copy on
you
like
probably
a
put it
CD.
on a drive or something if you wanted to.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, that's definitely something we'd want to do. We're also big like VHS people,
Yes.
which you can see in the game. They're like everywhere.
Mm.
There was actually when we went on vacation in New Hampshire, near Westboro, maybe if
Yep.
that's a town, on a lake. There was this tiny little VHS shop there, and it was just this older woman running it, and it was all VHS tapes, and they were like reasonable priced, and it just like it opened up something in us, and like now we have like hundreds, and we want to turn like our basement into a blockbuster, because like the physical like having the film, and like I don't even when it degrades and it like looks bad, it's still like it feels good.
It's like comfort food type of thing. Yeah. And I think I know the exact place you're talking about. It was the town Wolfboro.
Wolfboro, yeah.
I know the exact place you're talking about. It's like a
Do you know
yellow
if it's
place with
still
a blue
open?
sign. It's still open. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
We'll have to
that's
go
funny
back.
because I work kind of in that area, so small world. But yeah, as soon as you said that, I was like, that I know that place. That's crazy.
We went there
That
in
is
2021, and now half of our living room looks like that store.
Awesome.
So
I do love how certain games, or not games, but movies like Alien Resurrection had a special, not yet Resurrection, Romulus had a VHS special version come out, and I was like, yes, please. I don't have a VCR, but I want it. It's kind of like vinyl. Bring it back, because I totally would be all about it. There is like I said, it's kind of like a comfort food. At least at my age, it just reminds me of good times.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I think I don't have anything else. Rick, do you have anything, or
no?
Anything that you want to ask us or shout out or anything?
Well, I did want to ask you guys, like, obviously we talked about it a little bit, and you said Silent Hill 3 is your favorite, Rick, and like you guys were playing these games and playing, but I just wanted to kind of know, like, like your feelings towards horror, and like what your favorite kinds of horror games are, and that kind of thing.
Well, just to jump in real quick, it's funny you asked that, because actually we kind of started a friendship over our obsession with Dead Space. That was actually there's another podcast called Xbox Expansion Pass. A big group of us kind of became friends from being in that Discord together, and he and I kind of talked to our other friend Ellery about how good Dead Space was, because they had tried Callisto Protocol, and I was like, that's a good one, but it's nowhere near Dead Space, and they had not played it yet. And I'm like, oh, you gotta play Dead Space if you like Callisto Protocol. That kind of led, one of those big domino and the small domino thing. That was the small domino that led to kind of a bunch of us becoming friends.
Yep. Yeah, that was awesome. The catalyst of this, probably.
Yeah.
For me, Dead Space probably overall is my favorite horror survival game. But I will say, like, the Resident Evils are very near and dear to my heart. And every time there's like a state of play or Summer Game Fest coming up, I'm like, please give me Resident Evil Code Veronica or the original Resident Evil remade. Like I need it. Like I love the remakes, they're fantastic. So I really need the other ones, but I do, like I said, I was like doom scrolling through TikTok and stuff, and your videos showed up of Heartworm, and I was like, this is fantastic, because at first, yes, it brought back the nostalgia, and of course, you're just hit with that nostalgia feel, and you're automatically like, oh, this game is so cool and stuff. And then I played it, and I was like, yeah, no, this game is great, but I did it kind of wave after wave. It made me feel like playing Resident Evil on the PlayStation 1. But then I turned off the pixelization, so it was just kind of like a smoother game after I played it a little bit. And then I got nostalgia of playing Resident Evil Code Veronica on the Dreamcast because of it. So I was just like, so good. So then, yeah, so Resident Evil and probably Dead Space are at Silent Hill. It's so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah, I know. There's so many good ones.
Like
I don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you can go ahead.
I was going to say, like, I did say Silent Hill 3 is probably my favorite survival horror game, and that is true. But, I mean, it's a 1A with a 1F all the way down there, you know? Like I love Resident Evil 4. I love Dead Space, as I mentioned. I even liked the often forgotten, I loved Siren. The
Siren.
Yeah. Although I'm a weirdo. I actually really like the PS3, like, kind of remake of it, where they made it an American group of kids or whatever, as opposed to Japanese like they were.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it had a subtitle. I don't remember what it was. I love those games, and I mean, they were pretty big in Japan. I don't think they were played too much over here, but I like Evil Within. I mean, I like all those. The Suffering. You remember The Suffering? Those games were good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard of The Suffering.
There was only 2 of them. They were on PS2 and Xbox, original Xbox. They were published by Midway. What made the first game very interesting is it was actually set in a real prison in Pennsylvania. I'm from Pittsburgh. This is out in the Philadelphia area. It's called, what is it, Clint? It's like Eastern State Penitentiary or something like that.
I think so. Yeah.
It's actually fairly famous because the guards were pretty fucked up in how they treated patients there and stuff like that. And so they actually built a survival horror game around a patient escaping it and stuff like that. It was pretty interesting.
I gotta write it down because I don't know. I'm sure Vincent's like all in on this stuff, but
it wasn't obviously Resident Evil size, but it was moderately decently popular. So not unheard of by any means.
Yeah, I mean, Siren, like those games. Unfortunately, I was a little like, they were kind of not beyond my time, but like beyond my scope, because I've had like a developing relationship with horror as a genre. Like I stayed away from it until like maybe like my very early 20s, and I was like, like I just need to get over it and like get into it, and like video games were like the last thing. And so I'm so grateful that Vincent is this like repository of knowledge, and he can play the stuff that I can't, so that I can experience it. So yeah, I definitely want to watch him play Siren. I don't think he's played Siren, but I watched a video about it. So
it's a good one. If you have a PlayStation, I believe it's part of like the PS Plus for like.
Yeah, they did make it available on a PS4 or 5, whatever.
So it is there digitally if you want it. So
yeah, I have my modded PlayStation controller back. It's like the gray see-through that Vincent did for me.
Awesome.
Yeah. But in terms of like horror, like we're like seeing like a real resurgence of like indie survival horror.
Yes.
Like Signalis was so good. I loved
that game. That was really good. Yep.
And like recently, like Sorry We're Closed came out, and I really liked that one too. And it came out with a physical release, so I like pre-ordered the physical of Sorry We're Closed. Like Crow Country, Post Trauma. Like I feel like we're just like getting spoiled for really, really good games from indie developers lately. And I maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's like a conspiracy theory, but I feel like Konami was like, damn, we gotta step up our game, because like
absolutely. Absolutely.
We've been kind of slacking, and like these games are doing really well. So
Yeah, Konami is so quiet for ages. Me and Rick talk about all the time. Like they're sleeping on so many good IPs.
They have
then,
3 of the biggest IP in the industry, and they weren't doing anything with any of them. And they're still not with Castlevania, but Silent Hill and Metal Gear are at least making returns.
So hopefully,
I mean, they got the anime, but
yeah,
not the same as the game.
Yeah. One of the other recent horrors that I played that I absolutely love, and I always tell people to try and play, is Soma, Soma.
Yeah.
I love
we
that
have
one.
that one.
I actually was not the biggest fan of Soma, but I liked Amnesia.
Yep.
It's by the same people. That's why I tried Soma. Yep. I don't know, something about it didn't quite do it for me.
I think it's just, I mean, I enjoyed the gameplay and everything, but also if a game is set underwater or in space, it's already +5 points automatically.
Yeah, those are big sellers too.
Yeah.
So,
definitely the next game is probably going to be in space that we make.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Already looking forward to it.
But like underwater is so good too. Still Wakes the Deep was really good.
Yep.
That was a fun one. Couldn't play that one. Vincent played a bit of it. I think the only like horror adjacent game that I could make my way through was Dredge. Which I enjoyed. But I did turn off like the scary events. It's like I just can't, like my nervous system can't handle it.
Understandable.
So, not technically horror, but I would qualify this as horror adjacent. Did you happen to like the Last of Us games?
I watched Vinny play those. Okay. But yeah, they were really good. We have like the art books for both of them.
So do I. I'm pretty much the biggest Last of Us simp on earth, so.
Yeah. We haven't watched season 2 of the show because we've just been so into it.
If you like the Last of Us,
yeah. That's kind of what I was hearing.
You have to, if you watch it by all means, but just go into it trying not to think about the video game.
Yeah. But it's hard with video game remakes. Like we thought they did pretty good with season 1.
Season 1 was good. Season 2 was not. That was the problem.
Yeah.
It's hard bringing games to TV, to movies and stuff. For some reason, people just want to change it, and that's fine. But
like
it's
the
also
Until
fine
Dawn
to stay
movie.
with. I haven't seen that yet, but it's completely
it has nothing
not what the game
Dawn,
is. Completely,
exactly.
So it's like, why even call it Until Dawn? Just make it its own thing.
When I saw the trailer for it, until it put the title card of Until Dawn, I was like, is that Dead by Daylight? Because they're getting killed by like a bunch of stuff every night.
It would make more sense as Dead by Daylight. Definitely.
But I mean, I do like love movies and TV shows and stuff, so I'm not opposed to like them taking inspiration from video games. I mean, like if Heartworm got made into like a movie or a TV show, that would be so awesome.
You made it then.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But it's also, it's hard because we just have like, it's already kind of a cinematic experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more, you get more emotionally attached when you play it because you go through the same things the characters go through with them.
Right.
And watching it is just different. And if different things happen, there's different outcomes. I don't know if it feels like a betrayal necessarily, but it does feel like disingenuous, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's a good way to put it for sure. For sure. But hopefully you get TV rights, movie rights, plushies,
we'll be the first ones in line for your premiere.
That's right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Bells and whistles.
One of our friends was like, oh, you could play the main character, because I've like cosplayed Sam for different stuff. I was
awesome.
Yeah, they're like, we were at PAX East and West last year and I did that. And someone was like, oh, you could play Sam in the TV show. And I'm like, no, I think I could get better at voice acting. Like maybe I could do more of that, but like, I'm gonna leave that to the professionals.
Yeah.
That's awesome though.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's looking good. Even, like we're just so happy that we were able to do it. It's the dream for real.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Not everyone gets the chance to like make their creative vision come to life.
Right.
So we're so grateful that we got to do that.
Yeah, and it definitely seems like it's heading in, the right direction. You got a great publisher already, and there's, looking up the game and stuff. There's already like a fan base built around it already from the demo and just social boards and stuff like that. So it definitely looks like you guys are heading in the right direction, and that's great because, like I said, I played the game and I am truly looking forward to it. So
yeah,
all the best.
If you want, I will let you know about, because we're gonna start doing the like pre-launch marketing stuff. So
awesome.
Yeah,
we'll definitely keep in touch because this has been fantastic. So definitely love to stay in touch with you. And then after it launches, when Vincent and you have some free time, we'd love to have you on and talk about it some more. And once we've all played it and able to really grill you with some questions,
right?
And we'll be like,
you won't have to be quite as vague about it.
We'll be like, we don't know.
We just come in.
But yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
This has been really great. So
thank you
once again
for taking the time to hang out with us.
Yep. Come on with us. And this is I was telling everybody for like a week. I was like, I am so nervous to do this because this was like my first one. I've always wanted to, since I was a kid, talk to people that work on games and stuff. So I was like talking to my daughter, my girlfriend and stuff. I'm like, I am so nervous. And they're like, oh, you'll be fine. So you yourself have made this a very comfortable experience. So and like a dream come true for me. So.
Thank you very much for that.
Oh, no, it's awesome. No problem at all. Like I said, I'm, like we're all just people at the end of the day. And like, I think especially in like, I can't speak for like people doing like AAA stuff, although I have met people before who have done that, and everyone's pretty down to earth. We all know, it's zeros and ones, and like we all have creative visions, and like we want to get something across and connect with other people. But everyone is valid, and like doing a podcast is like its own huge thing. And so I'm glad that I got to be your first interview with Game Dev. Awesome. And I hope that you get to interview plenty more people.
I hope so too, but I'm super glad that this was the start. This was fantastic.
It was a good start. It was a good first step.
Very, very good. So before we end it, is there anything? Where can people find yourself or the game that you want to plug? I'll also put down links and stuff in the definition or whatnot of the video when it goes live. So that'll be there. But anything you want to show out, throw out?
Yeah, sure. You could follow Vincent. Let me look up his. I no longer. So he's at ADINOLFI on BlueSky and Twitter. You could follow the game's TikTok at Heartworm _game. We have an Instagram too. That one we don't use as much. There's the Discord. Most importantly, we would appreciate wish lists or play the demo or just, interact. We have the trailers on YouTube. Any just tell us what you think about it. You can say bad stuff too. It's fine. Only Michael reads the bad comments. So he drives himself crazy with that stuff. But yeah, you can find us there.
Perfect. And I'll have a link to all that in the video when it goes live. Hopefully this will be up pretty quickly and out to the hands of everybody and give a deeper insight to the video game. So once again, thank you very much for coming by and hanging out with us.
Oh yeah, no problem at all. I hope you guys have good nights.
Awesome. Thanks everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.